Jeremy Pruitt does not have the intelligence to lead the Tennessee Volunteers football program long term. I'm Marky Bilson. I'm going to tell you why. Look, Jeremy Pruitt is not a well-spoken man. If you ever watch the Jeremy Pruitt show on a Sunday morning, you'll know this. He stumbles through his commentary. It's like Bob Kessling is some sort of intimidating figure or something. Well, obviously he's not. And, just look at Jeremy Pruitt try to speak sometime and you'll get this. I really think that's the reason why the Vol Caravan was canceled in 2019. Pruitt going out and talking to the media, to the fans and all that, sooner or later the foot was going to go in the mouth. But it did last week. That's precisely what happened last week. Foot went into Jeremy Pruitt's mouth. On Thursday, June the 18th, Jeremy Pruitt announced his team wanted to wear black jerseys for their upcoming game with Kentucky on November the 7th. And after that game, they would auction those jerseys off and give the money to Black Lives Matter. But the following day, assistant coach T. Martin is going on all the talk shows in Knoxville doing damage control, backtracking what Pruitt said. Now, this is a quote he gave to the first talk show he appeared on, and I just want you to try to make sense of this quote. And I do realize that it's taken out of an interview, but it's an entire paragraph. See if you can try to figure out what T. Martin is saying right here. I think what Coach Pruitt was speaking of yesterday is the idea of we're supporting that part of it. We're supporting hearing our players. We're supporting our players, giving them an opportunity to speak their hearts, speak their minds, and supporting our community that we serve in Knoxville, Tennessee. The statement that was made, I think, was speaking to the movement of that, not necessarily the organization. So twice in that paragraph, Martin tries to tell us what he thinks Pruitt is saying in a very rambling statement. He's not telling you. He said, well, I think what he really means is, So my question is this: why isn't Pruitt telling us what he thinks himself if he wants to backtrack the original statement that the money will go to Black Lives Matter? Martin continued that the Vols never talked about donating to that particular organization, nor will we do that. The organization Martin is referring to, of course, is Black Lives Matter. But if donating to Black Lives Matter was never talked about, then why did Pruitt say that's where the money was going to go in the first place? It makes absolutely no sense. Somebody is lying. Additionally, the fact Martin couldn't even mention Black Lives Matter by name, instead consistently referring to BLM as an organization, that indicates the Vols wish to disassociate themselves with BLM. Only 2 weeks after Pruitt stood and spoke with his team at the Friday, June 6th March on Knox protest, where offensive lineman Trey Smith wore a Black Lives Matter t-shirt while speaking to the masses. So you got to wonder what Smith thinks of this backtrack of Pruitt saying, we'll give the money to BLM, and then Martin the next day saying, no, we won't. Well, where are you going to give it to? Oh, we haven't decided yet. He actually told Jimmy Hines on the Sports Animal at 5:30 on Friday afternoon that we haven't decided where the money for this auction is going to go. The gesture of Pruitt appearing with Smith at the March on Knox now seems really hollow. You're not really even willing to stand behind his t-shirt. Now, perhaps Tennessee's coaching staff, after reflection, felt funding BLM would upset their largely politically conservative fan base in East Tennessee. Or perhaps Pruitt, he's former Nick Saban assistant. Nick Saban famously told reporters in 2016, oh, I didn't know it was election day. He was supposedly so engrossed with coaching the Alabama football team. So maybe, Pruitt, you're going to be at a march. Oh, I'll appear with you. Sure. If you've asked me, thank you and all this. And then it's, the march means this? What? Huh? Either way, saying you're going to do one thing one day and then sending a henchman out to talk to the media the next to refute your statement just isn't a good look. At best, it's another example of Pruitt's less than exemplary communication skills. At worst, it's coaches telling their players, on second thought, we don't really agree with some of the political stands you guys are taking, and so it's really hard to imagine that those players will blindly accept their coach's revised stance in today's very turbulent times. I'm Marky Bilson. I give the hardest-hitting commentary on sports in East Tennessee that you will find. If you like it, I ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the bell when we get to 100 subscribers. And also, I ask you to follow me on Medium and Twitter, @Marky Bilson. Until next time.